Hi everyone, welcome to our latest video in the Head in the Cloud series hosted by Citrus Global. Here with me today is Rene Bernhardt. He is the CTO at Packwise. Rene, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hi Jack, nice to be here with you. My name is Rene Bernhardt. As you said, I'm CTO of Packwise. We are a German startup located in Dresden in Eastern Germany. And our business is the tracking of IBC, which are containers in chemical and all process industries.
Okay, fantastic. Thanks for the introduction. It's a pleasure to have you here today as a guest in the Head in the Cloud series. I mean, this year's been definitely challenging for everyone. You know, with coronavirus, it's impacted businesses, individuals in some way, shape, or form. How has lockdown been for you?
Challenging, I would say, yeah, because we are still in a phase where we didn't really enter the market with mass production. Yeah, we are still piloting many projects. And what we experienced in March and April of this year was that really, as soon as this lockdown message came out, a lot of our projects were either delayed or completely closed. So, and this was for us as still a startup, quite challenging because it took a lot of our, I would say, confidence. Yeah. At this point, we were really confident that everything is working well. We had a lot of projects ongoing, and right with the start of this lockdown, we didn't know anything anymore.
Yeah, it sounds very frustrating and a very difficult time for you guys. When did the startup? When was it you started the startup? Before
our company?
Yes.
At all, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were founded in 2017. Yeah.
Okay.
We started with a slightly different business model.
Yeah.
Which was rather like helping companies in managing their containers. And while we were doing this, we found out that there's a very big need for a device that tracks these containers because there was no transparency at all. The companies don't know where their containers are, if they are full or empty or whatever.
Yeah.
And then we started developing this IoT device.
Okay, interesting. So, I mean, what were your biggest frustrations from maybe a personal or a business or a project perspective?
Yeah, from the business perspective, of course, it was like that all the promising pilot projects were delayed and even closed. Personally, it was very difficult for me to only be able to work remotely.
Yeah,
I really need the contact to my developers, to my salespersons, to talk to them. And I mean, we have a very open environment. Everybody is able to work from home anyway, so a few days. But I think it's one thing is if you are able or allowed to work remotely, but if you have to and you cannot see each other, then it's a bad situation.
I agree. It's nice to have the choice, isn't it? For sure.
Exactly.
And I think in the summer, as the summer approached, people were edging back into the office. Did you guys or your team, some of them, get back into the office a bit more? Or have you been fully remote virtually the whole time?
We came back. I mean, we were almost in complete lockdown, I would say, during April and most of May. And in the summer, we were almost all of us back in office again.
Okay.
But unfortunately, now the trouble started again. So personally, me myself, as I already told you in our last call, I'm in quarantine since last week because I had lunch with a person who was tested positive afterwards. So I have to work from home at the moment, and as it looks now, probably everybody will have to work from home soon again. So hopefully that's not the case, but it might happen.
Yeah, I mean, we're towards the end of October now, aren't we? And it's certainly edging towards that way, unfortunately. But I agree. I hope it doesn't happen either, because I'm like yourself. I enjoy that social interaction with my colleagues, and working from home. I mean, it has its perks, but it's not all it's cracked up to be, in my opinion. You know, I miss that as well. I mean, coming back, well, as a result of coronavirus, have priorities altered within the business or for you personally?
Yeah, of course. I mean, one thing that I already told you was that on the customer side, things went down, but for us also on the supplier side, we got problems. Yeah. Also,
I
our
see.
manufacturing partner has delays because of coronavirus. They have delayed in getting parts from overseas and from China. They had incidents in their factories themselves.
Yeah.
I would say what where priorities shift a bit is in the planning. Yeah, you say you don't know, you know that you can't take anything for granted. Even if you dates were agreed, things were signed, nobody has influence on such
Yeah.
things. And you know that, yeah, you have, even if you think about the worst case, there's even a worse case.
Yeah. So yeah, you fear the worst, and sometimes it gets worse than that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know what you mean. Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. A lot of it's out of anyone's hands, isn't it? Out of our hands. And what would you say the biggest lessons are that you've learned throughout all of this, looking back or on reflection?
Yeah, I think it's, as I already told, it's like to always put another um, safety buffer to anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you, even if you say, okay, this can happen, that can happen, we thought about everything, add another few weeks because you don't know what will happen.
Yeah.
Especially if you are small, and I mean we are VC funded startup,
Yeah.
and you have to calculate how long you can run on your money. Yeah. And don't take this too much to the limit. Leave yourself a bit more room because things happen.
Of course. Yeah. To
Yeah.
give yourself a bit of leeway, sort of thing. Yeah, I
Yeah.
understand. Yeah. I mean, what do you think is here to stay as a result of all of this? You know, as a result of COVID now.
I think the positive side may be that uh, people more appreciate things like being in with colleagues, having personal contacts,
Yeah.
things that you took for granted in the past. Maybe you appreciate it more now that
Yeah.
when once you didn't have it. Um, I think companies will pay more attention to yeah, to be more planned, yeah, to
Yeah.
know how long they can run on money, how long materials will last, and things like that. Because once you experience a shortness of something and it took down your business, then
Mm.
this shouldn't happen again.
Definitely, yeah. So sort of be more, I suppose, aware and to plan in advance.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, no, I totally agree. Would you say, are you expecting a bounce back in the economy at some point?
Bounce back in the sense that it comes back the way it went down.
Yeah, potentially.
Uh, if you had asked me 4 weeks ago, I would say yes, had said yes.
Yeah,
But right now, I'm not sure anymore. I think it will be a long process, a slight process, nothing, anything like bouncing. I think it will be a rally and then hopefully slightly going upward again. But I don't think that there will be a bounce.
no, no,
Yeah,
fair enough. I understand. It's just unprecedented, isn't it, for everyone? No one knows. There's no timelines, and there's so many grey areas and a lack of clarity on what's going to happen.
exactly.
So
Yeah, I mean, in
it's
the summer, you almost could get the impression that it's almost over and Bill won the war against this bloody virus.
yeah,
But right now, it gets more and more obvious that it will take a long, long time.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
There was a sense of optimism, wasn't there, in the summer? But
yeah,
now it's
exactly. I mean,
people,
as usual, the summer, the weather gets better. Everybody is more
yeah,
optimistic anyway,
for sure.
and then everybody could get back to work, and it was almost normal. Yeah, you couldn't get almost feel the virus anymore, and
Yeah,
now it strikes back.
yeah, now it's cold, wet, grey, and miserable. Well, especially in
Yeah,
the UK, so it's not not a lot to be hopeful for at the moment, is there? To be honest.
yeah,
But there we go. I suppose we're all in it together, which is and everyone's going through it the same thing in a way. I mean, knowing what you know now as a result of all of this year, what advice would you give to businesses moving forwards?
Yeah, if you are small as a company, I would everyone give the advice to stay conservative in planning. Yeah, even
Okay.
if there are optimistic outviews and projects,
Yeah.
don't give out your last penny. Yeah, keep the money together
Yeah.
because there are, for a small company, 5 or 6 months without any project could be enough to be killed. So
Yeah.
yeah,
To be quite cautious would be the main
yes.
bit of advice. Yeah, understood. It's definitely impacted, several businesses throughout this, and speaking to people within Germany every day who've had to let people go, or they've had people on the bench, and it's been testing times. But
And
ultimately,
another thing maybe would be to get used to working remotely. Yeah, I think
yeah,
for us in a small and young company, it was already quite common.
yeah,
But I know other companies, also here in Dresden, which were completely surprised and had to work in home office suddenly.
yeah,
And then it gets chaotic. If you never did it before and you have to do it from one day to the other. So everyone should practice working remotely, I
yeah.
would guess.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think now, as a result of all this, most businesses will have, well, pretty much will have to offer some sort of working from home, because I think, speaking to candidates, especially in our line of work, it's pretty much what they expect now, certain
Yes,
candidates,
it is.
and if they don't get it, then it could be a deal breaker,
Yes, I
because
agree. Yeah.
they get that work-life balance more. And I think this coronavirus has shown businesses, especially maybe people with a bit of an older mentality, or businesses with an older mentality, that people can still do the work from home. And it's just to give them their bit of trust in their employees, really. Yeah,
I agree. Yeah.
definitely. So you guys work from home pretty well. You were obviously working from home before that, when optionally, but moving forward, that's always going to be an option for you guys at Packwise.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we were quite used to because we already have developers that work some days per week remotely.
Hmm.
So, I mean, for our salespersons and marketing, it was quite new because they were in the office most of the time.
Yeah.
But since we were used to it and having meetings remotely, talk to customers remotely, it wasn't too big of a change for us.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on the virtual meetings? It's not quite the same, is it, as having a coffee or a beer, or someone in person?
I think one thing we learned is that, especially for customer first contacts, yeah, we
Mm.
used to travel a lot. Yeah,
Right.
sometimes we drove through Germany 8 to 10 hours to have a 2 hours customer meeting.
Yeah.
And I think what these video conferences showed, that for first contact and to get it to know each other, it's completely fine. It's
Yeah.
completely enough. You don't have to drive 10 hours to see another person 2 hours. Uh, but within the company, I would say it's not enough to have video conferences only. Yeah,
Yes.
it's fine most of the time, but you have to see each other. You have to have a coffee together or whatever. Go
Definitely.
for lunch, meet in the kitchen, and such things.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, when meeting people, you can get a much better gauge, can't you, and an understanding from that personal interaction, and you don't get
Yeah,
that
exactly.
by
You
video.
also have to. I mean, I'm responsible for the whole technical department in our company,
Yeah.
and you also have to detect the moods and the feelings of your employees, yeah? And
Of
you don't
course.
get it in video conferences.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Of
that's
course.
only see them for 15 minutes and it's
Don't see the full
yeah,
picture. No, I
yes.
totally get that. Yeah, for sure. I mean, given the current circumstances moving forward, or what maybe in the new normal, what would you ask of a modern talent partner?
I think most important to be flexible, yeah? Things can change from one day to the other, and even if you agreed for a talent partner to hire you someone this for that, it could be different next day. So I think flexibility is one of the most important things to expect, especially for small companies, yeah, for startups. I mean,
Yeah.
with our searching for employees or developers, especially, everything shifted, yeah. The persons we wanted originally to hire in June or May, we shifted everything to the end of the year because, of course, we were not out of money, but we didn't have the budget at this point.
Yeah.
And so it has to be very flexible.
Of course, yeah, understood. Okay, well, look, I'd like to thank you for your time. You've been an absolute pleasure to be on the Head in the Cloud series. Hopefully we can have you on again in the future, discuss different topics, and we can look back on this when it's all behind us with a smile on our face. But time will tell with that one.
It was a pleasure for me too. Thank you very much, Jack.
No problem at all. Thanks so much for your time, and I wish you guys the best success for the rest of the year at Packwise.
Thank you very much. See you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.